But it's interesting how what hits and what doesn't.
Well, and you can usually tell by a live appearance like that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard Copperhead Road by Steve Earle.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to, because I saw it performed twice, once solo, and then another time with the full band. This is before it came out. When I saw it with the full band, the place erupted.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is going to be a powerful song.
Welcome to a podcast about music and entertainment. Before it all goes down the disposal, this is Circling the Drain.
Hey, welcome back into Circling the Drain, the podcast that tries to keep the entertainment business out of the garbage disposal, especially us, the three J's.
Yeah.
Maybe you know us by now. John E. Bozeman right here, also known as Johnny B in some circles. And there you've got Jay.
That's right. Otherwise known as Jeff. Yes.
Joe.
I've got a whole... No, that's my given name is Jeffrey.
Is it really?
And a lot of folks, they don't know who the hell Jay is. And then I've got a whole other side of folks, they have no idea who Jeff is. I've got these...
J. Jeff.
I've got this split identity thing.
Well, we know who Chris is.
Yeah, we do.
It's Jim McCarthy.
It's JJC.
How you doing, Jim?
Good. How are you?
It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, it's always fun to hang with Johnny B.
The three J's, baby,
and,
on Circling the Drain. And you can follow us, like us,
Yeah,
tell them,
share.
Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, follow, share. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram, barely. We're on Twitter. Well, X, formerly Twitter.
Yes.
You have to say
Now it's
that.
X.
YouTube. And of course, Jim has been the master of getting us on all of these audio platforms for
Yes, he
podcasts.
has.
We're like on about a dozen of them.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty amazing, all of the outlets. But we appreciate the folks spreading the word.
Well, and we also like all of your comments. If there's anything you like to critique about us, we take it. Bring it. We love it. We welcome it. We want you to tell us all about what you think about our podcast, Circling the Drain. And we try to get guests on here. Sometimes they don't show up. We won't use names. I won't embarrass anybody. But
That one day they will come to regret it.
Yes, they
Johnny
will.
B. They'll say, "Dang, I
should have
was
been on
supposed
that.
to have been on that
I should have gone on that podcast.
on that world famous podcast." Yeah,
But yeah, we're going to have some great guests coming up. But right now you've got us. And speaking of entertainment, which was what we really talk about, there have been a lot of artists that we've seen over our radio careers and even other ventures we've been into, like you with being in the music business. There have been artists that we've seen that have not quite got as big as we thought they would. And I think one that comes to mind for me, and I don't mean to, it's not, these people have made careers. They've had decent careers.
they've been successful, but
I pictured them. There was a group on MCA, a group of artists that I thought were going to be the next wave of country music. I really believed in all of them. That was Steve Earle, Lyle Lovett, Nancy Griffith. I thought those three people would have really been, I thought they were going to be huge because I thought they're taking country music into the next millennium. They are the new country sound.
and that was the foresight and the genius, if you will, of Country Music Hall of Famer Tony Brown.
Yes, sir.
Tony was head of A&R at MCA. I happen to have been around in the promotion department at MCA when those artists you just mentioned were brought aboard. Patty Loveless also came in that
Oh,
group.
yes.
And, of course, she, too, a Country Music Hall of Famer, so she's
Yes.
done all right.
Yeah, she had hits.
But yeah, people have to remember the time. This was 85, 86, and country music just really didn't know, the country radio, I guess I should be more specific, really didn't know what it wanted.
No, it didn't.
It was kind of the waning of the careers of Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn, at least from a record radio hit, record hit.
Yeah, even
standpoint.
like Waylon Jennings, his career was starting.
Yeah, they were on the downside of their career.
Right.
And so, Tony had the vision, and Emery Gordy was also part of that.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think of some of the other David Hungate was also a producer there. Anyway, they had the vision of really thinking that they could do something with Lyle and Nancy Griffith and Steve Earle.
Well,
that
I think
country
they
radio was ready for them, but not so much.
No, they really weren't. And I was frustrated by it because I was in country radio at the time, and I did like these people. I played their records, and I was seeing the request line, people asking for these records, but the rest of the nation just wasn't going along with
quite
it.
ready. Lyle Lovett's first album was not an album that was produced by MCA. It was an album that he had done in Arizona, that he had put together and done himself, and brought it to MCA, and we ran with that album. It had, if I remember, I had Cowboy Man on there.
Oh, yeah.
And, some other good stuff. But I tell you, it was such a weird, and I think we've talked about this in other podcasts, the stupid reasons that a lot of radio people don't want to play certain acts. And I would get, all of us got the comment that they didn't play Lyle Lovett because they thought his hair looked funny.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I remember being in on a meeting. It was with several, it was several industry people, and some of them were from the Jim Halsey company. And there was some like radio guy there, and he said, "I wish you guys tell some of these musicians and these singers to, when they come on stage, we don't want to see them in torn jeans." And I loved what one gentleman told him. He said, "We're not in the business of telling these people how to dress." And I thought, well, yeah, that has nothing to do with the music.
Right. And listening on the radio, you don't hear torn jeans.
No.
I mean, do you like the music or not?
You don't hear Steve Earle's, headband. You don't, see the wristband.
Right, wristband.
You don't even hear him. You don't hear the click of him voting Democrat. It's he just had great music. The guy was a great artist, still is.
Yeah. But, those artists that you mentioned there, I mean, in certain worlds, Lyle Lovett, for example, very successful. He's out there with that large band. He's been touring with that group for
ever
30 years, 30 plus years. A sad, Nancy Griffith, who passed away here a year or two back. That just kind of a sad story. I mean, she was, I was only around her a little bit, never got to know her. I don't think anybody really got to know her. She was very closed in, very reserved, almost to the point of it being weird. I mean, but she certainly had her own unique style. The quirkiness of Lyle and Steve Earle.
Yes.
And Nancy Griffith, I think, is what attracted them to Tony Brown and the group at MCA.
Well, that's what
because they
attracted
were
me.
just so different, because everything had become so homogenized.
Well, I got so tired of the cowboy hat. The cowboy hat acts.
Yeah, the hat acts. But that it's country music's always going to be that way, Johnny.
Oh, sure, and and there's room for the
Of
hat
course,
acts. There was one guy I know that a great artist, David Lee Murphy. I don't think he really intended to be a hat act, but they had him wearing
they put him in a hat.
They put him in a hat.
Dust on the Bottle.
Yeah, what
Right.
a great song.
Great song.
Yeah.
Great guy.
And he's written some great,
he's
great
in the
songs.
Nashville Songwriter Hall of Fame.
He deserves
Yep.
to be there.
And Party Crowd was another hit that
Yeah.
he had as an artist.
You guys remember Emily West? Does that
No.
ring a bell?
I don't.
No.
That's exactly. That's somebody who should have made it. My buddy and I, Rich, who plays with Aldine, we did a documentary on him when I first started becoming friends with him. And one of the things that we did was when he did a show with her, a showcase, Douglas Corner, I want to say it was.
Yes.
And what a voice. I mean, sing the phone book. He even says in the documentary, he says, I don't care where she's playing. I will play with her anywhere, anytime. I'll play with her in the parking lot at Sears to nobody just so I get to play with her.
Yeah.
And she was just my goodness, what happened? Come on.
Well, I know. It just really boggles the mind. There's a girl that I just fell in love with as far as her singing. Plus, she played great harmonica or harp. Was Stacey Collins. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of her. She is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a shame that we don't hear of them.
No, and you never do.
And for me, Susie Boggess.
I've heard of her.
She was on Capitol and had some modest hits, but a voice just an angel.
Oh, yes.
But having been, and I'm certainly no expert on this, I only had a small perspective on these kinds of things, but we ask ourselves, why wasn't the talent is there. There's no mistaking it, but it's other factors that play into becoming a star.
The it factor.
Yeah, there's that. There's maybe poor management decisions,
right?
Perhaps family members that were managers of acts who didn't know what they were doing, ticked off record companies, and there are so many other factors that come into play other than just talent.
That's the truth.
Extenuating circumstances that can really sidetrack careers.
Oh, exactly. And it's all timing. It's all...
isn't that the truth?
The big thing is finding the song. That's
what it
the
all
big
comes
trick.
down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I was a big fan of a Nashville rock band, Jason and the Scorchers.
I remember
that. Great band. And great talent, all of them. I really fell in love with Warner Hodges, the guitar player. I loved his guitar playing. I fell in love with it. But they just never caught on with FM rock radio. They were either too country or too rock. Neither.
You just described Steve Earle.
Yeah, that's what happened with Steve.
Yeah, he just kind of wedged in the middle of all that, and country thought he was rock. Rock thought he was country.
Yep. Same with these guys. Another guy that happened to, Gary Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
God rest his soul. Great honky tonk singer, but he'd rock out. He would play slide guitar, and they didn't know what to do with him. He was too wild for country music.
There's a lot of Canadian acts, like in country, that just, like really good ones, that just don't seem to make it down here for some reason. One almost did. And they had a really big album, I want to say, in 05, 06, Emerson Drive.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Great bunch of guys. I think some of them are still here in town. What a great harmonies, great song selection.
Oh, yeah. A really good friend of mine was their road manager for a while.
Yeah.
And he told, as you say, said the best group of guys that he ever got to work with.
What a phenomenon. My brother and I, he's like, whatever happened to them? My brother's a musician as well. He's got a good ear. I said, dude, it just... it was C list at best, maybe B list.
Yeah.
In terms of popularity, but my goodness.
The Mavericks to me always should have been a lot. Raul Malo with the
what a voice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
what a following they have, though.
Agreed.
They do.
And
they were the ones that did. Remember, I was telling you a few episodes back about their version of Dr. Feelgood. If you ever get a chance to listen to that. It is phenomenal. It's the best. I used to love Motley Crue's version until I heard
their version
because it's more big band Latino. It's just got a great sound to it. Plus, it really brings out the story of the song. They blew that out of the park.
Wow.
Yeah, you guys need to check that out. But another band I really fell in love with. I saw them. A friend of mine in Atlanta. Brother Dave White. I was going through a divorce, and he invited me down to this. It was in the middle of nowhere. It was the Ozone Bar and Grill in Covington, Georgia. And David Allan Coe was playing, and Blackberry Smoke was opening for him. I fell in love with his band. You talk about good Southern rock. It just reminded me of Skynyrd and Allman Brothers packed into one. And plus, they're a little more country.
Yeah, I was introduced to them by a woman that worked for me way back when. And she was always talking about Blackberry Smoke. This was in Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, that they were coming through town, and she and her husband were going to, I never heard of these guys before.
Oh, they have a following.
They have a following. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they were smart. They're great to their audience. In fact, I really got to where I love the drummer, Britt Turner. I would always, anytime we went to see them, I'd end up talking to him after the gig. Nice guy, super nice. He wouldn't, to look at him, it's like one friend of mine was with me at one of their shows, and he said, "Don't look at the drummer, he'll kill you." Because he looked like a biker, you know. But he was the nicest guy. And he passed away recently, and I mean, it hit me like a family member. It was really tough.
So he looked like the drummer for the Muppets, you know, that
Animal.
Yeah, he kind of did. He kind of did, but he's a really cool guy. But they're all nice guys. I mean, the whole band, they'd stay after show. They just knew how to take care of their fans, and that's why they've gotten as far as they have. But still, they haven't really gotten to that.
Same thing for Susan Tedeschi.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
I do remember her.
What a voice on her. We played her at the radio station I started at in Connecticut, and did a couple of things with her. But she had about 1 or 2 hits.
Well, it's like that with the Georgia Satellites. You know, they had that one big hit, "Keep Your Hands to Yourself."
Yeah.
And they made another great album, In the Land of Salvation and Sin, did nothing.
Yeah.
But great record, great band.
Well, to me, an act that they should have been superstars, but one of the sadder stories in music history, I guess you could say, was the tale of Badfinger.
Yeah.
You know, on Apple Records, and had some great stuff, Baby Blue. And,
Come and Get It.
yeah, just really, really fine stuff. But then after Apple folded, they got into legal issues with the band, couldn't get their music released, and they had a manager who swindled them. And
Wouldn't be Alan Klein, would it?
one of the lead singer, I believe it was, committed suicide over all that.
Pete
I
Ham,
mean,
yeah.
it's just such a heartbreaking story. I mean, there's a movie there about the pitfalls of being successful and then having your legs cut out from under you.
Well, the bad
just
thing,
due to a bunch of legal crap that had nothing to do with your music.
well, the bad thing about that too was that was a time when the Beatles they just made horrible decisions after their manager died. They should have gotten a great manager, but they didn't. They first tried to do it themselves. That's what happened with Apple. They tried to run that themselves. They weren't businessmen. They were musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got with Alan Klein, who was just nothing but a shark. I mean, that guy ripped off every band he ever managed, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles. And then Badfinger just happened to...
You know, their song Day After Day.
Oh, yeah, great
that
song.
was produced by George Harrison.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So I thought they were a phenomenal group, and they should have been huge, but those extenuating circumstances that we kind of discussed, it keeps a lot of the talent's there, but it's just a bunch of other garbage that gets in the way of some of these artists being bigger than they ultimately were.
Well, there's a young lady that lives here, and I won't use her name, but she was, Jimmy Bowen was interested in her, and he was going to sign her as an artist. She did end up being a hit songwriter, but I think she could have been a big artist because, number one, she was beautiful, had great talent, played banjo like I've never heard in my life, just a great talent. But her husband got involved. And he, this is the story I got, that he went to Jimmy Bowen and said, she deserves more money.
Yeah, making demands.
Started making demands, and he said,
me, you don't do that with Bowen.
yeah, he said, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Rip, here's the contract.
Yep.
It's done.
I could see him doing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that'll wreck you if you're, so that is a lesson to you ladies out there. Don't let your husbands dictate what your career is going to be.
Don't let your husbands grow up to be cowboys. You bully on other bigger cowboys. The other one that comes to mind is a mutual friend of ours, Reggie Ham.
Yes. Why isn't Reggie a huge...
He's trying. He keeps trying.
Oh, I know. He
Stuff
keeps
out.
trying, and he's got the goods. I mean, he's got the songs. He's got everything.
Yep.
Do you fellas remember an artist named Tony Tolliver?
Yes.
Sounds
rings a bell.
familiar.
He had a record deal. It may have been MCA back back in the 90s. But I played, I wasn't in radio at the time. I was producing concerts back then. But anyway, I did hear some of his stuff on radio. I met him when he was the piano player for Dottie West.
Wow.
I was producing a concert. Dottie was one of the acts on the bill. This was at a fair in Maine. And Tony Tolliver, that guy sounded, you would have thought he was Ronnie Millsap. That's who he sounded like.
Wow.
I mean, just a fabulous artist. And, I had a little chat with him about why he didn't break through, because he was a great artist.
Yeah.
And he just said politics.
Mm.
Well, that is a lot of the problem.
Yeah. Now, there may have been more to the story than that, but, that was his perspective.
Well, I always heard that with Steve Earle at MCA, a lot of his problem was Sheila Shipley. I always heard that story.
Yeah, she wasn't a fan.
No, that's what he said.
Yeah. And Sheila may see this. I don't know.
She might, but it's just, that was the story that.
Well, there at labels, anywhere, there are priorities, man. And, I've always said that chart position for songs don't necessarily mean all that much.
No.
It's the political game, at least way back when you were, in a promotion department and you were pushing certain acts to rise up the charts more so than you were others.
Yeah.
If there was a battle between George Strait and Steve Earle in the top 10,
yeah,
who do you think is going to get
George Strait
the priority?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the politics of the game, man. And at least it was back then. And I can even remember, I didn't have to do it, but I know some of the other promotion people did, where they would have to call a radio station and say, look, can you put, this is hypothetical, but these sorts of situations happen. I see you've got Steve Wariner at number 7 and George Strait at number 9. Can you swap them?
Oh, yeah, that did happen.
Or just because the position you had in the chart, you got more points, and cumulatively that could bump you up even higher on the. So that kind of stuff went on. I remember we had a Mo Bandy record. He was on Curb/MCA, and we were told, don't pay attention to Mo. But that song, it went up the charts. It was a great song.
Yeah.
It went up the charts totally by itself. I don't know. I think maybe Curb had their own promotion people.
Right.
And I know they were out there pushing it. But at MCA, we were told, don't worry about it.
Yeah, just ignore it.
I think it was Too Old to Die Young. That may have been the song. And it just went up I think it got to like number 4 or something.
Yeah.
And we never touched it.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't fair, but that's showbiz.
I always heard that's what happened with David Allan Coe put out a single, Mona Lisa Lost Her Smile.
Oh, yeah. Great song.
Yeah, great song.
On Columbia Records. Yeah.
Only went to number 2. And it got stalled out by, from what I understand, an Eddie Raven song, which I love Eddie Raven. It may have been
I Got Mexico?
It may have been that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the record.
Well, he went from Elektra to RCA. And when
it was on RCA.
Okay. When he went to RCA, that was I Got Mexico on RCA, I believe.
I can't remember what record was out by him at the time, but it had stalled. But then RCA did some armoring and got it to number 1, and it bumped. Yeah. And Coe has always had just that's been a sore subject with that guy forever.
Yeah, that was such a different song for Coe.
Oh, I mean, it was out of the Like when I first heard it, I thought, that's David Allan Coe.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it had some lush orchestration and stuff.
Well, and he sang it very well.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, Coe's kind of an acquired taste when it came to vocals, kind of like Steve Earle. But,
yes.
He, you didn't really want to hear anybody else sing it.
No, that's the whole thing with that dude. I to this day, when we had Gary Gentry in here, he's talking about Garth Brooks doing The Ride. To me, that's sacrilegious. I only want to hear David Allan Coe sing The Ride.
Yeah. there are certain songs, and I've never really been a fan of other artists covering big hits.
Me either.
I mean, there are some exceptions to that, but yeah, nobody else should do the ride.
Well, it's like Waylon and Willie. I love both of them, but when they covered "Take It to the Limit,"
Mm-hmm.
no,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
there's no way you're going to improve on that tune.
yeah. You know, I thought
Travis Tritt, though, did improve on an Eagles song.
on "Take It Easy."
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did.
Yeah,
was his version.
that's what I was just going to mention.
Yeah.
I like Travis's version of that.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. And I've liked Steve Earle's done some covers that I like. He did a great cover of the Stones "Before They Make Me Run," which was a Keith Richards song. And he also did a great version of "Honey Don't." That was on the Beverly Hillbillies soundtrack that he did with Joe Walsh.
Oh,
but
wow.
great version of that song.
Yeah. Well, I liked Clint Black's version of "Desperado." I thought he did an okay job on that.
I thought Linda Ronstadt did too.
Yep. Linda Ronstadt. I mean, you talk about singing phone books. She could have done that.
Oh,
for me.
she could. And all of her covers were usually great.
Yeah. And I loved her Nelson Riddle albums that she
I did too.
where she did a lot of the standards.
What's New? Yeah.
Yeah, the standards. Just, one of those versatile artists that could sing anything. Kind
Oh,
of like
yeah.
Millsap was that way. Glenn Campbell was that way. Yeah, not everybody can sing anything,
No. No.
They sound good in one particular, niche, and nothing wrong with that.
Well, I did like Willie Nelson's Stardust.
Yeah.
That was a great album.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that thing was at like number one, or I know it was on the charts for like 5 years.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, crazy.
It was just a great record. And he did such a great job of covering those tunes.
One of the last people that comes to mind that should have been bigger is Tim McGraw. Should have been bigger. Man.
My first exposure to Tim McGraw when I was doing concerts way back when, I booked Tim McGraw in a nightclub in Louisville, Kentucky.
This is before he was Tim McGraw?
Yes, he was on Curb Records, and booked him for $3,500. He and his band came to this, we did this event at this bar in Louisville, and Tim was a little chunky then, kind of baby-faced, not, he's all,
Chiseled.
He's pretty now.
chiseled now, yeah. But, he and his band, went out and had dinner with him and stuff. I mean, really fun guy. His band was great. Bunch of good guys. They let me hang on the bus with them for most of the time before and after the show. But he had told me that, we're just talking about the biz and stuff, and he was frustrated. He's like, Curb just isn't working for me, and they've told me my next release is a hit, or they're going to cut me.
That's going to be a great feeling.
Yeah. And it was about a few months later, Indian Outlaw came out.
Yes.
And there you have it.
I mean,
So
off to the races.
And
then.
That's a good pivot.
I had him booked for the Wisconsin State Fair in Milwaukee for $7,000. And of course, that was, I think the show in Louisville was like in May or June or something. The Wisconsin State Fair gig was in August. And by then he had started to rocket. And so he canceled on us. He wasn't going to play anywhere for no $7,000. And hey, that's show business. That's
the
business.
business.
It's a business. I didn't take it too personally, but yeah. So and he played Indian Outlaw at the show that we had done.
Yeah.
And again, most of the audience, it was a pretty good little crowd, but not anybody really knew who he was, because he hadn't broken through yet. But there were a couple. Don't Take the Girl. He sang that, and that got a huge response from the crowd there. Indian Outlaw was kind of,
Yeah.
Okay. But it's interesting how what hits and what doesn't.
Well, and you can usually tell by a live appearance like that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard Copperhead Road by Steve Earle.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to, because I saw it performed twice, once solo, and then another time with the full band. This is before it came out. Well, I saw it with a full band. The place erupted.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, this is going to be a powerful song.
Right.
That song explodes.
Oh,
Does it?
And
Does
it's
it?
what a great record.
Tony Brown production, man. He, knew how to get the most out of that song. I've already told the story on another podcast of when I first saw him do that in front of a bunch of bankers.
Yeah.
Just him, and that mandolin.
What a strange place to take Steve Earle.
Yeah.
Well, who else have you been around that was like future greatness?
Oh, wow.
That comes to mind. As we're pivoting, we've been around people that should have been great. Who have you been around? Like, you were around Tim McGraw before he was great.
Well, I was also worked for an agency on Music Row that did the Country Showdown, which was a talent contest. It was the Wrangler Country Showdown for years.
Yeah.
Then True Value Hardware took it over, and GMC Truck was a sponsor and whatnot. Anyway, when we would go around the country with that thing, with this talent show, we would book backup bands in the respective venues where we went. A lot of county fairs, things like that. Well, the Oklahoma show, this was, 87, 88, maybe? Anyway, the Oklahoma show, Garth Brooks was the backup band. I didn't do that. We had another producer that did it. I wasn't around him then.
Mm.
But, they had said how the producer, still a good friend of mine, had said that Garth couldn't have been any nicer and just, really was showed a lot of empathy for the contestants and stuff because he was trying to be an artist.
Oh, yeah. I loved Garth Brooks' first records. That's when I really dug him. Like If Tomorrow Never Comes, those type of tunes.
Yeah, those ballads before he started doing all of his.
And doing Fever. Well, two girls that I really predicted fame for, and it ended up happening. One was Lori Morgan, because I worked a show with her when I was playing music. I opened for her. It was really weird. It was like at a naval base in Savannah, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And she was nice as could be, beautiful. But what really struck me, I dug her voice because she had that husky, she's just got this husky voice that I just love. And I kept telling people, I said, she's going to be huge. I don't think so. It's George Morgan's daughter.
Yeah.
It's real hard for
Nepo baby.
Yeah, but man, she did. She took off. She became huge. And I still am a fan. I love her voice. Anytime I hear her sing. Another one was Pam Tillis. I was working at a radio station, and she had put out this song, There Goes My Love, an old country standard that she had redone. It was on Warner Brothers. And nobody thought she was going to, and that song was great. It never did anything, but I fell in love with her voice, and man, she ended up becoming a huge country star.
Well, I work for, I do work for other country stations around the country, one of which is in the Cookeville, Livingston, Tennessee area. And there's a venue there called the Live Oak Event Center in, it's not Live Oak. Anyway, it's a listening room in Livingston, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Iron and Oak Event Center, I believe it's called. But anyway, they have a monthly show there called Americanaville.
I like that.
And Pam Tillis was one of the acts here a month or two ago.
Oh, I would love to have seen that.
Yeah, and I did phone interviews with her, and I've met her a number of times before at her Christmas show that was at City Winery in Nashville.
Yeah.
But anyway, hung with her for a while after the show and stuff, got photos. And you mentioned Lori Morgan. She is going to be appearing at that venue in October. And you can sit as close as we are in this place.
Wow.
All right? I mean, it is a nice listening room. And the artists will mingle with you and all that stuff. So we need to make a date, Johnny B.
Yeah, we do.
To go see that.
Well, I'll tell a story here that and this is why she was an ex-wife. But I was married to a woman that she was Catholic, and we went to a Catholic service up in Madison, Tennessee. And as we get into the church, I noticed Lori Morgan's there. And I can tell Lori Morgan is waving to my then wife. And I said, Lori Morgan is waving to you. And she said, oh, I used to take her to school. I thought, well, wow, that's a small world. So anyway, we sit behind Lori Moore. She was married to Sammy Kershaw at the time. And they were in the front pews, and we were behind them. Lori turns around, starts talking to my then wife. I'm waiting to be introduced. Never happens. And we go outside, and I said, it would have been nice to get to meet Lori Morgan. Oh, you wanted to meet her?
Yeah.
Well, duh.
You know what happens when I do when I'm in situations nobody thinks to introduce me? I go, "Hi, I'm the chump," and it makes the person that doesn't introduce puts a spotlight on them.
I should have done that.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here, the chump. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. It's just me, Johnny B.
Hello.
Oh, that's just me. But anyway,
I had an experience in Vegas when I was in my studio. It was like a fishbowl production studio. And all these people started walking down the hallway. And one guy had this really long hair and everything. And we had people like that coming in all the time. And, for some reason, I just kind of paid attention to these people. I was like, there's something about them. They went in there, did their interview, and they left. And I asked the producer, I said, who was that? Like, they're in some movie that's coming out. What's the movie? My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It was John Corbin, Nia Vardalos,
wow.
all the cast that, but right before the movie came out, like a month or two, it came out. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, good luck with them. But something made me like go, oh, there's something about that was weird.
Yeah.
You just knew, like a little gut feeling.
Was it an it factor thing?
I know, because I didn't get a good look at them.
Okay.
I just felt like, like God was turning my head, like pay attention to those people. You got to remember them.
Well, that happened to us one time. It was another wife, not the one I was just talking about, the one before her.
Gosh, we got a calculator to keep up with.
You do
with Johnny's
I'm
wife.
sorry,
You got to do calculus.
I have a bad matrimonial history. But anyway, this ex-wife and we were married at the time, but we were at Houston's. It used to be this great restaurant on West End in Nashville. And we had gone at a time when nobody was there except one other couple. And my wife at the time goes, I think that's Steve Earle at the other table.
Where?
And I looked and I went, yeah, it is him. And it was around the time of Exit Zero.
87.
Yeah, it was in 87, getting ready to be 88, I think. He was, but, it must have been his son, maybe Justin. Whichever son it was, he was like just making a mess. He was throwing, napkins everywhere, and Steve wasn't paying attention. Steve was bitching about MCA.
Yeah.
Because we could hear everything. And Steve was real loud. And I think he was he wasn't with his wife. He was with a girl that ended up being his wife, I think Teresa Ansonet. It used to be, she signed Guns N' Roses. She was with Geffen Records.
Oh, gosh.
And they were dating on the sly, and it was them. They were having dinner together, and Steve was bitching about MCA, but my wife at the time, she goes, you got to go talk to him. I said, no. For one thing, they're eating. For another, he's not in a good mood. So I don't think he's going to be real up for a guy going, hey, man, love your music.
Will you sign my menu?
Yeah. Would you sign this napkin that your son just threw on the floor? But,
yeah, you remember when Arrington Vineyards came about?
Yes.
It was Kix Brooks, right?
Yes.
And I ran into him at Vanderbilt Stadium on a football game, and he's walking. Everybody, I think we were getting to our seats before the football game. We had gone there like the weekend before. Really, really enjoyed it. We were kind of becoming wine aficionados and whatever. And I go running up to him. I'm like, hey, mind you, I'm not, remotely impressed by celebrities at this point. I've met enough of them, right?
Right.
But he turned around, looked at me. He's a tall dude, and you could tell the look on his face, like, oh gosh. You could just tell he's like, okay, here it comes. I said, I love your wine. And all of a sudden he's like, thanks, man.
It changed everything.
It completely changed the dynamic. He's like, that really is good to hear, because it was a new venture for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So maybe next time you know.
Hey, man. I don't know what you'd say to Steve. Yeah. Love your movie.
Yeah.
Lovett leaves the grass, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing you never want to do. That's one thing I do. People have asked me, well, why didn't you get a picture with him? See, I just don't play the germ.
Yeah.
So that's what I went wrong with Waylon Jennings. I really didn't know. For one, I didn't know what Waylon was going to talk to me. It was in a business meeting situation. I was a nobody.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's not going to, I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
And when hey, I think I know you from somewhere. And all I did was, you don't know me, but man, I dig Will the Wolf Survive. I said, it's a great record. Just want to tell you, I love your music. And for some reason that did not sit well with him. And he avoided me the entire time. I probably should have lied and said, we met one time. We were buying some of that booger sugar, but I didn't go down that road. Didn't want to lie.
We actually had Lee Allen Baker on the Small Town podcast about a year ago. She's an actress. She's moved here from California. She's she's on a speaking circuit now, speaking against all the things why she moved from California, essentially very conservative values, those kinds of things. But she was on the podcast and, they're a client. I'm a vendor. I don't, if there's somebody of note, I'll be like, hey man, you mind if I get a picture? I may do that, but I haven't done that. But she actually asked, she's like, you want a picture too? I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Well, that's cool.
I took a picture with her and she taught me how to pose. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I was at a Lyle Lovett recording session at Soundstage Studio, and they were overdubbing backing vocals. I want to say Harry Stinson was
one of
the guys doing backing vocals. Anyway, sitting there in the studio, and like a lot of studios, there's these couches and stuff kind of behind the console and stuff, where you just come in and relax and listen to what's going on. And I'm sitting on a pretty long couch, and there is a woman sitting on the other end of the couch. And she had a ball cap on and was dressed very just kind of frumpy, just casual.
Mm-hmm.
And we started kind of chatting a little bit about things. Never introduced ourselves. We're just kind of chatting, and I don't even remember about what in particular. But anyway, Lyle comes in, and they're listening to stuff and going over some things. But anyway, before they do that, he comes into where we're sitting, and the woman stands up and gives Lyle this big hug and da-da-da. It was Linda Ronstadt.
Whoa!
And, she had no makeup on, just had the ball cap. Da-da. I didn't recognize. And quite frankly, I was kind of caught not to ogle or stare at women in particular. So I never really did. It was kind of dark. Studios, it's kind of darkly lit in there anyway.
Right.
So I never really gave her a good look. But then what I realized who it was, I'm like, blah, 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 But and I never was, because they started getting all chatty and stuff, and I never did want. I didn't want to muscle in and introduce myself while they're talking.
Like you were at the IndyCar race. You
yes, exactly. Yeah. See, I learned from that experience. You got to seize the moment.
That's right. Well, it's very. I was at MCA Records one time, probably at the time you were there. But I was having to pick up some records.
Yeah.
That we didn't get because we were a small station, and I was in the outer lobby, and all of a sudden I see this girl coming out of. She was getting ready to come into the lobby, and I thought, man, that girl looks familiar, and it was Patty Loveless, but she didn't have any makeup on or anything, and I think she could tell I recognized her, and I think it bothered her because she was thinking, oh God, I don't have any makeup on. So she ducked and
incognito.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. That kind of sounded, back then, Patty was extremely shy. She would, when she would sit around you, she would just be shaking. She was so nervous.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought she was such a pretty girl and such a great talent.
Well, and I tell you, it is kind of amazing that, you were talking about family members as management.
Yes.
Her brother, Roger Ramey, was her manager at the time. And Roger was an okay guy, but he was by no means a a top tier manager. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things. I'll be honest. Bowen didn't believe in Patty. This was a Tony Brown thing.
Really?
And I think one of the things that turned Bowen off was the fact that her brother, who was kind of a goob, was her manager. He just didn't want to fool with it.
Yeah.
He just didn't have time for that.
That's what I understand about Jimmy Bowen. He did not care for goobs.
Yeah, he was a no nonsense guy. I only saw him get pissed once. We were in a promotion meeting, and he was always, because he was stoned most of the time, but he was always real laid back and just smooth and relaxed. And but boy, he really jumped on one of our promotion people. He was the retail promotion guy named Mark Maynard, who passed away suddenly. He's a young man too here a few years ago. Sad stuff. But anyway, he jumped on all over Mark. I mean, it was like it was Jekyll and Hyde, man.
Yeah.
I had never seen him just really get on somebody.
Yeah.
Especially in a meeting in front of everybody else, and all the rest of us are kind of looking at each other like, God dang, have you ever heard him go off? We were all stunned that he really lost it.
I've heard both stories about him, that he could either be really cool or be pretty vicious.
Well, he was definitely cool, and he helped me with a personal issue that I've always been thankful for. I too have one ex-wife, and
show off.
Yeah, I know. And anyway, when we moved up to Nashville, anyway, we divorced when we got up here, and I needed some representation attorney wise,
Mm-hmm.
and Bowen got an attorney for me, and to help me with all this stuff.
Wow.
And the attorney didn't charge me a dime. I won't say who the attorney was, but he was a powerhouse. He was a Watergate attorney.
Man.
Yeah. And it was pretty
God
cool.
was looking out for you.
It was a pretty cool experience. But anyway, I mean, that's the kind
He
of
needs out of this thing.
Yep.
Help him.
that's the kind of guy Bowen was, though, for his people.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what you want.
Because I went to him, and it's almost, back then it was almost like going to the Pope, his secretary, exactly. His secretary, Abby DeMumbrian, was his assistant, his secretary, administrative assistant back then. She was the gatekeeper.
Yes, she was.
And I went to Abby. I said, man, I got a personal issue. I think maybe Bowen might be able to offer me some advice. Anyway, got in to see him and told him what was going on. And he says, so you need a real bulldog, huh? I said, yeah. He says, I got just the guy for you. And set that up for me and, helped me with my situation.
Wow.
And the attorney didn't charge me one penny.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of clout Bowen had, man.
See, I needed somebody like that.
If you were an FOB, a friend of Bowen.
Yeah. Friend of Bowen.
A
fob.
It was carte blanche with, with certain things.
Yeah, I bet Steve Earle wasn't part of those fobs, was he?
Probably not. Well, I tell you what, though, Bowen did he liked Steve Earle.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. He just thought that he had there was a raw energy about him that he really liked. But again, just trying, as we've said, is he country? Is he rock and roll? Donnie and Marie, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. But he just really, square peg, round hole, man. He was tough from a promotion standpoint. He was tough to.
Well, and country radio was much different then. I mean, it was like you said, it was going through a transitional period because you were kind of coming off the afterburn of Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, all that, and going into a new phase with George Strait and then Steve Earle and Lyle Lovett and Nancy Griffith just couldn't.
Yeah, just different.
Yeah, because Dwight Yoakam, I honestly didn't think Dwight Yoakam was going to make it, personally, because I got to hear his album before it came out. And somebody asked me, said, what do you think of this guy? And I said, it's retro, but doesn't do much for me. I ended up really liking Dwight Yoakam.
There was a competition, if you will, between Steve Earle and Dwight Yoakam.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of promotion. And in fact, Bowen used to make a joke how he would pay somebody, he would give somebody $5,000 if they would get a picture of Dwight Yoakam without his hat. Because they all thought he was bald, you know.
And he was.
Yeah. You know, it was just kind of a friendly joke in jest kind of thing. But there was certainly a rivalry there.
Well, I heard
from trying to get, you know, because I would have radio guys tell me, well, I would play Steve Earle, I would play Dwight Yoakam, but I ain't going to play them both.
Yeah.
Again, stupid reasons that radio people come up with. But they only felt that they thought that they were similar in genre, I guess, because they were a little different for the time.
Well, them, and it was really weird. Randy Travis got thrown in that group too.
Yeah.
It was Randy and Dwight and Steve. They called them new traditionalists.
Yeah, 86.
And Steve was not a traditionalist at all.
No, not at all. You know, he had some songs that had steel guitars and stuff in them.
Well,
but
sure.
No, he was no, I remember from Exit Zero, number 29 is the name of a song.
Oh, I love that
The
song.
lyrics to that are just brilliant.
Oh, they are.
But yeah, Steve, traditionalist? No. Yeah. I remember the first time I heard Randy Travis, I had a promo copy of a cassette from a movie soundtrack. I don't even remember the movie, but Randy Travis was part of that, had a cut on the soundtrack for this film. And I remember mentioning to my Warner rep at the time, who the hell is that guy? I thought he just had he sounded terrific.
Yes.
And the record, God, I can't talk. The record rep didn't know who he was. It was before they had even, had Storms of Life. All that had come down the pike yet.
Well, he was playing at the Nashville Palace forever.
Right, yeah.
He was a dishwasher there, and he would sing, and he went by different names like Randy Trawick.
Yeah, that's his real name.
Yeah,
Trawick. But I remember Denny Mosesman was my Warner Brothers rep. And he's like, heck, I don't know who that is. I couldn't tell me anything about him.
Yeah.
Because they haven't, didn't push him to the reps yet. But it's, again, the pendulum, man. The Zach Top is out there now, country artist.
Yes.
Who comes from the bluegrass world.
Right.
Because he's been playing bluegrass since he was a little kid. I really like what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I respect a lot of what considered modern country. I think there's room for all of it, but I am more of a traditionalist at heart.
I am too.
I like, man, give me the fiddles and the steel guitars.
Oh, me
man.
too. I do love
the twin
music.
fiddles, especially.
Yeah.
You're looking at a guy that will still throw in a Bob Wills CD.
Yeah.
Because I just love the Western swing. And I recall you remember the play Wolfie's down on Lower Broad?
Yes, I do.
They used to have a Western swing night there, and Stuart Duncan and a lot of these just fantastic Nashville session guys would get together there on, it was like Tuesday nights or something.
Oh, yeah.
And play nothing but Western swing. And it was the best damn stuff that you've ever heard, man.
Well, that's the great thing about Nashville, and that's what makes Nashville so magical is that there are great places like that. Like you have the Bluegrass Inn, which, man, you have some great bluegrass. In fact, no one really knew about Del McCoury until they see him at the Bluegrass Inn. Just some great music.
The Station Inn, has a bluegrass night a jam night on Sunday nights at 7:00, free, and you can go in there and just your jaw will drop for 3 hours. It's like these short, fat guys that are about 70 years old will get in there and tear stuff up, man. The guys that who are these people? And it's just amazing.
Well, I walked in, and probably the last story we'll have, but I walked into 12th and Porter one time. I was going to see a band of a guy that used to work at the radio station. He kept telling me about his band, so I thought, well, I'll go check these guys out. I was single at the time. And I walk in, and the place is packed. When I can't find a place to park, I'm thinking, wow, these guys must be great. And I walk in, and there's a guy at the front, door, and he doesn't take any cover from me. And I'm thinking, wow, this is wild. Place is packed. I can barely walk. I go into the club, and all of a sudden I'm hearing some of the best blues guitar I've ever heard in my life. The thing is, I'd hit the wrong night. I got the night mixed up. This was Charlie Daniels.
Oh, wow.
Charlie Daniels was jamming. He was doing some special thing at the club. He was doing like a Stevie Ray Vaughan song. And I mean, just smoking it. I'd never heard Charlie Daniels really play guitar. The dude was blowing me away. That's the great thing about Nashville, is that things like that happen. You'll go see somebody here. It'll be impromptu or you're not expecting. It's just, that's why I love Nashville. It's a very magical place as far as music goes, I think.
Yeah, sometimes, as you say, somebody will jump out of the crowd, or maybe you're there to see somebody that's pretty unknown.
Yes.
But, Jason Aldean's in the crowd.
Yes.
And, he'll jump up and sing us. It's just that kind of stuff happens.
It does.
Not many cities where you can say that other than Nashville.
That's very true. And, magical things happen here too on Circling the Drain.
That they do.
And please join us whenever you can. Also hit us up on circlingthedrain.net. You can follow us on all the social, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
We're on all of them. And like, share, follow, tell your friends.
And now we'll get to the OnlyFans part and say goodbye. Thank you for joining us.